Alright, Timmy, so you want to make the NBA. I got you. I'm going to start you off like this. Every high school player has a .03 chance of making the NBA, which is relatively low, but I got good news for you. After this video, your chances will be increased to probably 0.04%, which I guess that means it really didn't help. But hey, the video came into my head and I was bored. And why should you listen to me if the highest level of ball I played was JV as a junior in high school? I don't know. Now, if you can't tell, this is relatively unserious, but I'll give some quick knowledge for anybody who clicked this video actually wanted to make the NBA. Work on your guard skills. And this is for my taller guys. Former hoopers love to say that their former coach messed them up when they put them at center when they were 6'4". No fam, you messed yourself up when you were 9 years old, not practicing when you got out of practice, which already means you didn't have the work ethic. A lot of people go to these fancy and private schools with real centers and tall players on their teams, but I can use as one example. J.D. Davison, young guard from the Celtics, from Alabama, not too far where I live at, but I say that to say this. Alabama doesn't have that great basketball compared to Georgia and Florida at least, so JD wasn't playing against real centers on a daily basis. At 6'4", he was usually one of the taller ones on the court. His coach would have been a damn fool to put him at center because he was taller. The dude could actually play and he was running the point for his team. Only exception is if you know you're going to be about 6'10", but even at that rate, there's nothing wrong with developing guard skills. Now, let's get into the actual video. I broke an NBA player down into about 6 facets of the game: athleticism, shooting, finishing, dribbling, playmaking / IQ, and work ethic / mentality. I left off defense because I feel like that's more of a mentality and size thing than a skill thing. If you disagree with me, Andrew Wiggins was a decent defender in Minnesota, then gets to Golden State and becomes elite. And some guys like Trae Young, who are at a physical disadvantage, will never be good defenders. But let's start off with athleticism. The league consists of amazing athletes from your Ja Morants, LeBron Jameses to Zions. But I have semi-good news for you. You don't have to be an all-world athlete to make the NBA. We're going to look at this from a if he can, you can perspective. You don't have to be an elite athlete, but you still have to be a well above average athlete. There are 2 main factors when it comes to athleticism in the NBA: vertical leap and speed. There are other factors like strength, coordination, and quickness, but a lot of these kind of tie into your vertical or your speed, or they're not as important. You watching this video, the average Joe, you probably have somewhere around a 17-inch vertical. Alright, that's something to work with. Let's look at the worser athletes in the NBA and see what their vertical is. Let's start off with Luka Doncic. (42.5 inches. Wow, okay. I was not expecting that. Let's try somebody else. Alright, so we got Brian Scalabrine, an NBA legend when it comes to the mean world. Let's see his vertical. Wow, 30 inches. For one of the least athletically gifted players, he is still jumping 30 inches. Alright, so you, the average Joe, you have about 13 inches to make up for that. How do you do that? Is that even possible? Well, if you devote multiple hours a week to strength training, stretching, diet, and a limited amount of box jumps and toe raises, in 6 months, you can probably gain about 5 inches of a vertical leap, maybe 6 or 7. Yeah, but maybe you got lucky and you was actually able to gain those 13 inches. Now we got to talk about speed, but there's no combine measurement that measures a player's speed, but we all know that these dudes are fast. So you need to be strength training for your speed too. You also can't be weak. Yeah, this isn't football, but when you got James Harden bumping you in your chest, you're going to need some muscle to eat those bumps. It may not seem like it from a TV standpoint, but the NBA is a very physical sport. Very handsy, lots of bumping. You got to build up your weight and your physical capabilities to withstand those athletes. Alright, so now you're an NBA level athlete. What's next? Shooting. Now, the average NBA player shoots about 35 to 36%, and we've seen in the past that if you can shoot the rock at a high level, you can create yourself a very long career in the NBA. But these guys can shoot the ball better than you think. Have you ever watched an NBA player warm up? It's like they forget how to miss. It's unlike anything I've ever seen, and I can't figure out how when they get to the game they miss. But when you notice that their legs are dead from running up and down that basketball court, and they got 7-foot wingspan demigods running at you full speed trying to contest your shot, you start to realize how hard it is to actually shoot in an NBA game. So if you're in the open gym and you go 9 for 20 or 10 for 20, you're not good enough yet. You need to watch all the Steph Curry beef videos and all the things of that nature to fix up your form and make sure you can go at least 15 for 20. Find your form and shoot with that same form and consistency so you can learn to shoot under the insane number of different scenarios like contested shots, moving shots, and fatigue shots. Shoot hundreds of jumpers a day, every day, because believe it or not, becoming a crazy good shooter brings a lot of value to your game on every level. Next, finishing. Finishing at the rim may seem easy. It's just a layup. Well, Victor Wembanyama just got drafted, and he's 7'5". It's going to be tough to finish at the rim at a high level, but let's point out some of the skilled finishers around the league. Now notice, I said skilled, so I'm not going to bring up Zion, Giannis, and Braun, because you're probably not 6'8", 250 pounds. We have to point out dudes like Curry, Kyrie, and Trae Young. Their ability to finesse and slither around big men is impressive. But one day when I first got into basketball, I was watching the game. There was a fast break, and the ball got swung to a role player, and I was in shock. The role player went up against a bigger guy and did an up and under layup. I was wowed. I thought it was only superstars who were able to perform off moves like that. It really put into perspective on how good NBA players are. So first, you absolutely have to learn how to lay the ball up ambidextrously. Layups are basketball 101, but you have to be able to use your right hand and your left hand. Somebody could be cutting off your right hand, you gotta go with your left. A player who I think is amazing with their offhand is Steph Curry. With how comfortable he makes it look, you might mess around and think he's left-handed. Then you have to learn how to spin the ball. When you're doing a reverse lay, you are under the basket at a weird angle. You have to spin it correctly off the backboard so it bounces in off the spin. Then you have to learn how to use your body. Like I said, the NBA is a physical sport, and even the smallest players use their bodies to help protect the ball and finish at the rim. But the possibilities are endless. There's so many ways to finish at the rim. You got floaters, euro steps, and hop steps. This is where I think watching film is the most important, especially for this and the next skill. I can watch Curry shoot a million jump shots, but it won't better my shooting. And I can watch Giannis run and dunk all over the court, but I'll never be his size or have his athleticism. So that's why you have to watch these smaller guys, because there's so many creative ways to finish at the rim. And watching other finishers at the rim will do nothing but teach you more ways to finish at a high level at the rim. Watch your Kyries, your Shays, your Currys, and take moves into their games and put it into yours. Which brings us into our next skill, dribbling, playmaking, and IQ. Dribbling is a skill where you can watch somebody dribble to learn moves to break down defenders, but you still need to practice and get reps at a high level to improve at that in the first place. There are plenty of drills that will help you tighten your handle. And then you need to watch your Kyries, Trae Youngs, and Hardens. These dudes are some of the best in the NBA at breaking down the defender and getting to their spots. Then, playmaking and IQ. These are things you learn from actually playing the game and studying the game. If you follow the first couple of phases, you should be pretty good at balling on an organized team. And if not, you should be hooping at your near wreck. If you plan on playing high level ball, you should be actually hooping against other people. Then you can get game reps, which naturally improve your IQ and playmaking. And if all else fails, resort to 2K. There's a lot of players who've learned the basics of basketball through 2K. It's a basketball simulation. It may sound stupid, but it will help. It emulates basketball in the best way possible in the form of a video game. You can learn how to read pick and roll coverages and how to make the next pass out of doubles, everything. But of course, there's nothing like real life game reps that can actually prepare you for every type of coverage you may see on the basketball court. Lastly, there is one more thing: work ethic and mentality. Kobe Bryant is known for his intense mentality he had towards the game and his craft, the Mamba mentality. But this is common amongst a countless amount of NBA players. The amount of work it takes to become a pro basketball player is insane. There are stories all over the internet on what it took a certain player to get to the point they are now. But my favorite is Magic Johnson's story. Growing up in Michigan, you could only play basketball outdoors for about 6 to 8 months out of the year because of the freezing cold weather and or snow. But Magic, who dedicated his childhood to playing basketball all day, every day, he would wake up in the morning, put on a jacket, and shovel snow out of his driveway just so he can put up shots all day and work on his game. This is just as a kid. So if you want to get better at basketball, you're not doing enough. And I can almost guarantee Magic Johnson wouldn't be watching this video right now. He'll be outside working on his game. A lot of people see NBA players who fall out of the league because they didn't work hard enough and be like, oh, this dude made it off of natural talent. That's not true. They still had to work extremely hard to get to the league. They just stopped because once they made it to their destination and got paid that crazy amount of money, they didn't feel the need to work as hard as they once did. The want to grind disappeared. This is why I didn't put defense into its own stat, because I feel like it's a mentality thing. I feel like it's a work ethic thing. Some players can't play defense even if they try because they're too small, but if you're an NBA level athlete with good size, there's no reason why you shouldn't have at least above average defense. That's all mentality. I think mentality is the most important thing when you're trying to do anything great in this life. You have to have a certain want if you want to go get something. But after all of these rules, your chances of making the NBA have jumped. You're at 0.03 to 0.04, which is still extremely unlikely. It's the offseason, man. I'm bored, and I have no credibility myself. But If you made it this far, you probably enjoyed this video or learned something from it, so consider subscribing and checking out the rest of my content. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like the video, turn on post notifications, do all that, man. Thank y'all so much, man. I'm out. Peace.